Hey, what's up, everybody? We're gonna get Krishna on here in a second, and what we're talking about: billboards versus brand buzz. Billboards were stuck at this exact angle, and they were really cool in the '50s. And a lot of people in the cannabis industry are buying up these billboards, and it blows. We're gonna get Krishna on here. So during this podcast, we're gonna talk about the reason why getting by it's how you can take more advantage of brand buzz opposed to billboards, because Cannabis Wellness Party is like a billboard. Sorry, it's a billboard. It's a three-dimensional billboard that has a lot of chaos to it. And I wanted to introduce Krishna because she was the calm in the storm who jumped into the culture of Cannabis Wellness Party without much guidance. And I wanted her
Indeed.
to talk, during this, she's going to talk about how having more abundant business practices will help the culture of your dynamic, of your brand. It will help it flow better, because when you're based on the scarcity of greed, it's very limiting. You burn out your employees. Your employees are more apt to steal from you. They're more apt to get injured on the job. It's just not good for business. And the people in the ivory tower that really don't give a fuck about you are trying to get you to do certain things. So I invited Krishna on here as part of the culture of Cannabis Wellness Party to kind of um, echo what the culture is saying about this.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Hi, everyone. This is making me reflect on just the work that I do, that I've been doing for the past 13 years, which is wearing the hat of mental health consultative support. And through the lens of consultation and mental health, one of the most important pieces is this idea of relational health. And sometimes we don't think about that in business. We don't think about this idea of what that could look like, especially when we live in a culture that, as Steve mentioned, we tend to normalize deficit thinking and not necessarily honor a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is very in alignment with looking and identifying the abundance that exists and can be experienced as part of what a successful business might look like. And, you know, at the root of feeling prosperous, feeling successful, isn't how many dollars that you can make. It really is connected to this idea of relational health, and an idea of wealth is beyond the financial. Wealth can come in many forms. Wealth is social wealth, all of the relationships that we hold. Wealth is health, right? Our physical well-being and so on and so forth. So to really be wealthy, to really be abundant, is to think about our business or our practices around business and exchange and commerce through this lens of a growth mindset. And the way that we can access health and access wealth and wellness is to embed these as a normal part of how we approach our business practices.
I like to think of business as a sphere instead of a bottom line, and I think that's more of what you're talking about, that growth mindset. Okay, so we're talking about the billboards, $7,000 to $10,000, and it varies between the position of the billboard and where it is in the part of town. But $7,000 to $10,000 for this. In 2026, we're going to get a bus we're going to be taking people to all our different events and to your dispensaries and all the different things around town. And we're going to have digital ads on the side. Plus, a lot of people having fun smoking on our bus as it is. A lot of really awesome people standing out there that are going to really be able to shed light on your brand. And because, and I understand why you would rather hire a billboard than me, because A billboard's going to listen to your corporate bullshit. I'm not. And the reason why if I was a bad person, I would take your money and do the stupid shit you told me to. But I understand it's not true. And I grew up with a lot of integrity. I have more integrity than most of the people that I come across. And I don't even say that often. It's just who I am. So I don't need to say it. So I don't say it that often, just because I don't have, I mean, I can look at my Reader article and you can see how I used to look with short hair and in a little suit. And I was breaking out of this mold. The picture that I have that was in the Reader article, I had a hurt neck on that day because this guy was breaking out of the mold. So I feel like you're trying to kill me when you're trying to stuff me back into that mold. So a lot of people think I have an ego. Well, I have an ego, but they think I'm arrogant you just can't, no matter how much you pay me, I don't have a price to sell out. No matter how much you pay me, I won't do that. So here's one of the products that I created. This is for a kindergarten teacher, and she wanted to be she came to our parties and she wanted to be an ambassador. So I got these packs. She's a kindergartner, so I thought, oh, kindergartners play with crafts. So I put these crafts together, put some Play-Doh in there, and I sold them to the dispensaries. And the dispensaries put their weed. So I can go across all states. I don't have to worry about that because regulations stress me out. And I understand that you have to deal with regulations, and that's totally cool, and that's very important. But somebody that's not dealing with regulations can help you with the creativity on something, and then you can run it through your loop. So I put the crafts in the bag. They put their own weed in there because I don't care about money. I'm not attached to money. I thought the price would be about $50. They charged $200, and they ended up selling out in a short period of time for that. And then when COVID started, I came up with the concept of the 420 watch. Took the battery out. Always put them on 420. Certain amount of people think these are stupid, including me, but people love me. Love them. People actually offered me, told me that this is very few people, but somebody said they pay $80 for the watch. I get these for like $1.50 each. Take the battery out, and then I put it on 420. People love it. So I got these 420 packs, put them in there. You put your weed in there, and then you're able to sell it. And all these concepts aren't protected in any way, so feel free to do it yourself. That's the way that I am. Another idea for the billboard. So there's this place. They changed the name, SDRC. They had about 25 billboards in San Diego, costing $7,000 to $10,000 each month. So let's say that they cost $200,000 a month. How about if they gave it to a woman's shelter, and then they told it, and then they invested in the women that were comfortable being on video, in businesses for these women that were in the women's shelter, and then did a reality show around that? Do you think the feminists would be that smoke weed would be buying weed from that place instead? That's an idea that I'm not monetizing in any way. I was giving it to them, and they were looking at me like I was stupid. And you can't spell wisdom without wise and dumb. I am able to throw myself in situations and be dumb because I'm wise, because that's how you build wisdom.
Right. Yeah.
So they were right, but they were stupid for not listening to me. And I apologize, because I have no other way to say that. Because a lot of these went out of business. The people that are laughing at me, a lot of them are out of business. And I didn't create that on them. When I was running around like a crazy person, because people didn't understand stuff that was going on. A lot of those people are out of business. And it's not my fault. That's karma. And am I glad about it? I don't give a fuck. But I'm not glad that they're out of business, but I don't give a fuck. Here's another one. I was trying to be calm this one, but this is Tanya that came to our she was Miss Pride for 2 years in a row, because around COVID they didn't in San Diego. She was Miss Pride. Got the 420 packs. LGBTQ plus, love smoking weed. We have this packs. Give it to the dispensary. Put your weed in there with some of Tanya's stuff. We cut a little money to them. You cut it to us. We have legal companies that we deal with. that we can put the weed in here, whatever you want to do. I virtually Krishna, I was going to call you Tanya. Krishna can agree to this. I pretty much said yes. That's all I've done is said yes. Anybody that comes to me, I just say yes to them. Am I going to just let them force shit on me? No, but I pretty much just say yes because it feels good. Because
Yeah.
all as I got is no, and the best way to get yeses is to give them. A lot of people are upset they got no, but they keep on giving people no's within there. Anything that you wanted to add to that? I went on a tangent.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Thanks for sharing all those creative ways that businesses can create direct to consumer experiences. And that's what I wanted to bridge. We talked about this recently on a live about this idea of direct to consumer. And billboards are awesome, you know. And if we think about the idea of a billboard, okay, it's a visual representation, it's taking up all kinds of visual airspace, but you don't feel connected to that billboard, unless it's going to elicit
There's
some
no
type of
Pavlovian
emotional
response.
response. Totally. Yes, exactly. So, if we don't have that connection, it's the same thing like any piece of art or any experience. If you can create that emotional connection, you're going to have a really strong consumer, a customer for probably life. And, and again, going back to relational health, one of the things that helps us stay well is our relationships and our connection and feeling the wholeness of those relationships. And what I've witnessed over my time being an entrepreneur is that if you can connect to your customer, they can feel like they're a part of you, your brand, what you're creating. They're going to stay loyal to you. And so it's beyond just like the dollars. It's beyond like, this idea of a business practice that creates a strong loop and you have them as a returning customer. We're talking about heart-centered business, and cannabis, because it's already a heart-opening plant, deserves to have business practices that match like the energy, the wisdom of the plant itself. And it connects very much also to creativity. So we have to be creative in our business approaches nowadays and really think about what can we create that is more than just, like you said, the bottom dollar, more than just the profits. What does real prosperity look like when we're creating businesses that are actually meant to uplift the consumer that you're selling this product to? That's something that actually makes me really sad, because the truth of the matter is there's a whole lot of businesses out there. And we could talk about the cannabis industry, but we can expand that to pretty much all businesses and say there's a lot of businesses out there that don't give a F about you. They're actually feeding you toxins, and they're giving you these colorful billboards and ads that making you think that it's all good, but really it's not. And they're still taking your money, and it's not about community, and they're not investing back into you, the consumer. It's not about any of that. And so really, the activist in me wants to say, vote with your dollar, like spend money, invest the consumer, spend money and invest in the people who are actively participating in community. And I would say the same thing for the business owners. Think about your relationship with your consumer, the community. And if you really want to be something special, something extraordinary, not just any old business, well, then really think about this component of relational health and wellness and doing it from a place that's beyond the dollar.
That's very beautiful. And I want to end with this. So when I first went to the cannabis events, I am able to go really far down the rabbit hole on things when I see the resistance. And sometimes it may not come across because I'm feeling the energy of the block of what's blocking it, and I'm pushing through it myself. So venture capital, they observe, and I'm simplifying this, they observe about 1,000 companies, and then they invest in 100 of those companies. One makes a big amount of money, and two, either make a little amount of money or they break even. So to the venture capital, that one that makes a lot of money covers all the other people. For me and Krishna and the culture of our brand, those are people. Those are people that they're trying to be their puppet masters for them and telling them what to do. When if your odds are that 1 out of 100 companies do well, you're not in a place to be egotistical or tell anybody what to do. And if you don't understand that, you're welcome to the Cannabis Wellness Party, but please don't ask me to do business with me. Please don't ask me to do it because I spent a long time thinking I was wrong when the stuff that I was controlling with myself and my business partner was working every time. I don't think you should even get confident after you're hitting 50% and they're hitting 1%. Even though in their world they're making money, but still, that is not enough because you're telling people what to do like you know everything just because you have a lot of money in society. And I'm sure that you have the venture capital, not you. The venture capital have horrible relationships with their wives, horrible relationships with their children, a lot of it because they're taking that same arrogance into the family, into the relationships of everything. So I want Krishna to end with something more soft because I was out there, but she understands my frustration. But she's good cop, I'm bad cop. Sometimes I'm good cop, rarely, but
Totally. In general, when we are moving through this world and we really think about when people are at that point in their life when they start like having existential thoughts and they start like reflecting about their life, what did I accomplish? It's fine. You have a bunch of houses, you have a bunch of profits, you have a bunch of businesses, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, you're really not thinking about that at the end of one's life, or when things happen in our life that cause us to really think more deeply about where we're going. And we are in that season currently when we're really thinking about, well, what's meaningful to me? And so why wouldn't we make choices that bring us more growth, more opportunity for whatever that looks like for you in the area of growth and evolution, that then translates to abundance, then focusing on one thing, aka money or how much profit you make, and are hugely financially wealthy, but you actually are lacking in all these other areas that really truly are what is most important to the human being. And to be abundant is to have because others have, you know. Um, I think it's a very sad reality where there is hordes of wealth and then there's huge populations that don't have any access. And that's something that, as you're saying, Steve, is beyond just a mindset. It's a bit of a disease in our culture. And I would really love to support us healing from that. And we can do that by creatively changing the culture of what business looks like.
we gotta go, Krishna. It's 4:20.
Yeah, it's 420, y'all. So we'll talk to you next time.
Okay, thank you. Peace.
Take care.
Bye.